Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
This said for the first time in 19 years, we're going to the second round. Let's go!
Let's go!
Oh my God!
Let's go!
Let's go, baby!
I actually,
all day.
that's the Leafs, baby. That's the Leafs.
I don't even know. I don't even know what happened. You guys spoiled it for me. The chat was like, "Oh my God, I was behind." Everyone's like, "Oh my God, they won," and I'm like, "No, they couldn't have." And I didn't believe it until I saw it go in the net myself.
I'm legitimately still
rattled
shaking.
are you now?
So
I'm
happy.
legitimately still shaking. My heart is pounding out of my chest. And
I'm
if it is your
actually so
first
happy.
time, welcome to Game Over Toronto. We are happy to have you. And the very first time Game Over Toronto is going to the second round. Holy shit, boys.
Yeah!
Let's go.
Go, man. Oh,
Okay, so really quick. Armand, how you feeling? One word.
I'm so giddy. I can't even collect my thoughts
Okay,
right
giddy.
now.
Okay, giddy. Fouad, what are you feeling? One word.
shocked. Honestly, shocked. I'm just like, what? State of shock. A very happy shock, but like, I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell just happened? That's basically what I just.
Yep.
That's what I felt.
Yep. Harnish, one word. Let's go.
Happiness. just happiness, man. I
And
can't believe they did it.
I'm absolutely befuddled and bewildered. The game went to overtime, and Jonathan Tavares, new dad for the third time,
Jeez.
with his second series winning goal,
Yeah.
put the Tampa Bay Lightning to bed and the Toronto Maple Leafs into the second round. Let's go. The captain going, and Austin Matthews going, and I hope, guys, you put some money down. And if you did, I hope you got on the action at Sports Interaction, and I hope you did it with Sports Interaction. Every hit, every shot, every goal from all your favorite teams and players. I hope you bet on the Leafs tonight, and if you didn't, I'm glad. You deserve to lose the money. With competitive odds, the best live in play, and more ways than ever to get into the game, like Minute Madness, our exclusive game with so many opportunities to win by the minute. Download the app in Ontario, use the QR code at the bottom of the screen, or head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. To get started, 19 plus, please play responsibly. Boys, ladies and gentlemen, and they-beans in the chat, welcome. I can't believe that, guys. So
Take a breath. Take it all
Just like
in.
full blown
Anybody?
relief.
Take
Yes.
it all in.
just relief.
Drink it in.
The nausea is finally starting to subside. Was anybody else feeling sick, you guys?
Oh, I don't know how many times I peed during that game.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I just had to keep going.
Oh,
I had
cannot
to tweet
get
out,
it.
and I was like, "Hey guys, like if anybody knows any breathing exercise to help me calm me down, please. I
I'm
am
legitimately
dying right
fanning myself.
now."
I was
I
like,
cannot believe it. I it's funny, like when the goal went in, I don't think anybody on the ice even really noticed. Like for a second, I saw it go in, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's not our net. That's not our net. We weren't the ones that fell in overtime, and
bad things didn't happen.
bad things didn't happen, and the nausea is subsiding. And as time goes on, it is settling in more and more for all of us that there is going to be game over Toronto versus Boston in the second round.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys. But I feel like there's nobody that's gonna stop us now, because we slayed the 4-1 dragon, right? We slayed the round 1 dragon. We slayed the Tampa dragon. Bring on Boston. Bring
I
on
agree.
Boston
Or
Florida.
Florida.
Or Florida.
Or Florida.
No,
I
I
just
want
wanna say,
Boston.
I'm
I want
cheering for-
Boston
I'm
specifically.
cheering for Florida.
Screw
I
you.
don't-
No. I want Boston. I don't
No.
care anymore. We're gonna defeat
Yeah,
all our
we're
demons
gonna
in this
take out all the
playoff run,
demons.
and we're
Absolutely.
taking the cup too. Defeat everything. I don't want to hear any information after this. I don't want to hear anything.
No, I don't want to hear anything. And you know what? Somebody very important is in the chat right now. Steve Dangle. Congratulations, Steve. I can't wait for LFR in the second round. Oh, guys.
The
Yeah.
first time.
First time.
And he's
First
been doing
time.
it for 16 years.
He's been doing these videos. I was texting my cousin, like he's really down on the Leafs, and I think now like he's like, wait, he's very pessimistic. So, and he's like, I don't know, man. Being a fan of this team is exhausting. And I said, think of Steve Dangle. This guy's been making videos since 2007, and this is the first time that they are going to the second round. He's going to make LFR second round. Like when YouTube, before you, like I think YouTube was like barely just sold to Google. That's how long he's been on YouTube doing this. It's unbelievable. Like the amount of stuff that has happened since 2004. Like this iPhone here, this was invented 3 years after 2004. Okay, 2007. Okay,
That's bad. That's bad.
Like the Leafs' top prospect now, Fraser Minton, was not born. Okay, this is monumental. Okay, this is historic. What we just saw, and
Absolutely.
no one's taking it away from us.
No, and I can't wait. Now we can say all of the round one jokes have died because Jonathan Tavares, in his magical pajamas, defeated them and put them to bed. And it's just the first head of the Hydra, right? Like, we got 3 more to go, guys.
Oh, yeah.
So let's not count on this being the last series winning game over that we do this season.
No,
like,
sure.
I feel like I could run through a wall, and I bet everybody in that dressing room is feeling the absolute same. Armand?
A lot more
Armand,
work to do. Yeah.
What
Fouad was talking about the 2004 thing, and there was a thing going on Twitter about like post a photo. This is me in 2004. I don't know if you can see it.
Look at you.
That's the
playing hockey
first
there.
year I ever played hockey.
There you
And
go.
Wow.
a large portion of that is because the Leafs were, winning. My family came from India. We didn't know anything about hockey. Winning
Amazing.
brings in new fans. It's so important. And I look forward to the people watching who become fans of the Leafs from this. Like, we've had
Absolutely.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years. I have become an adult. I've moved out. I got a job. I'm now talking about hockey.
Yeah.
Like 20 years since that. And that was the first year that I played hockey. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, Harnish, what do you feel about what do you feel has happened since the last time the Leafs won for you?
The last time the Leafs won for me, 2004. How old was I? 6 years old. I can barely
Wow.
remember anything
Youngin.
from like 5 years ago. Pre-COVID, I can barely remember anything. The world has changed. Like, the Leafs, everything around us has just evolved, and the Leafs, all I've personally known is just defeat over all the years of hope and defeat from the playoffs. And finally today, the Leafs beat the dynasty Tampa Bay Lightning and win a playoff series. I am beyond hyped, and I cannot put into words how insane this feels. Armand, like, we did Game Over last year as well, and we were right there.
Brutal.
We were right there. And finally being able to see us win a round, seeing the elation and the emotion from Twitter, from Steve. Did you see him screaming?
Yeah.
Oh my
on that
God.
broadcast?
So
I don't know
great.
how you didn't break your vocal cords, Steve, by the way. It's
still early.
just so nice to see. Leafs fans, you guys deserve this. Toronto fans, just go out there, enjoy this moment. There's more to come, but take it all in.
Yeah.
Fouad,
Yeah.
tell me all about it, man.
2004. I mean, I actually remember where I was when they lost in the second round. In 2004, and I'm telling you, this is like kind of like when I started getting into it. And I was at my cousin's place, like, that I was talking to. It's funny, I'm actually texting about it. And it was his grade 8 confirmation that day. I actually remember this. And I was 10 years old. He was 13. The man is 33 years old. The man is 33. He's like, we're old. Like, it's a whole generation. To Armand's point, a whole generation of people grew up since April or May of 2004, have grown up, have gone to high school, and have graduated high school, and are either in college, university, or in the workforce. Whole ass adults who have not seen this team win a playoff round. It's mind-boggling. Like, there's not much else you can say. And man, I really hope this brings in new people, because I feel like growing up, I had a lot of friends that were like, that would just latch on to new teams, because or kids in my class, they're like, no, I'm a Colorado fan. Oh, I'm a Anaheim fan after they won, or I'm a Pittsburgh fan because of Crosby, right? And no more of that here. No. We're going to be like, no, this is the team. All right. This is the team that's going to bring back the Utes. Okay.
Yeah. And it was Luke Shen that was a big part of it. And John Tavares. There was old blood and new blood involved. And it's crazy to think that the drought is old enough to drink in Canada. I'm glad that it's not old enough to drink in the United States.
Yeah.
And I am glad that that is finally to bed. I feel like 100,000 pounds is lifted off me. 2004, I was still convinced that I was not gay. I didn't have my driver's license yet. Let's see. Wow. Lord of the Rings was still my favorite movie. It still is. it feels like a lifetime ago. It feels like the whole world has changed, and the Leafs didn't change with it. And there were so many other teams, like your guys' point, there were so many other teams that had big moments, that had big seasons of moments. There was Pittsburgh and Chicago and Boston and Carolina, and it felt like even other Toronto teams, you know, the Raptors go and win a championship. Even though the Jays don't get to the World Series, you know, a couple of years ago, they make it to the AL East Conference. And, you know, the game 5, everybody remembers the bat flip. And the Leafs haven't had a moment like this in an adult's lifetime.
Yeah.
And now
it's wild.
We finally have a moment that little kids are going to be able to recreate in recent memory with HD, you know, 2080p, you know, visibility, and kids are going to be able to look back at this moment. And this is only the first moment of this playoffs, because this team is not done. This team is not done. So now this series is over. Okay. The series is over, and we're moving on to whoever wins. So what did we see tonight, guys? Let's talk about the good things. I think we got to talk about Samsonov first. Armand.
Oh my God, Samsonov. He was so good. You know, like, they were talking about this on the broadcast as well. And in clinching games, you know, I remember Nick Kiprios, I think, brought this up, is like, if you swap the goalies, we probably would have run sooner in previous years. Today, Samsonov came to play. He won us that game. Like, that is the MVP for me. Yeah. Like, completely won us that game, because Tampa was pouring it on, especially in the first period and then into the third period. Like, they could have won this game in regulation if Samsonov didn't show up big. And he had to show up big early. Like, we're talking about the first few minutes where he had to show up big. Samsonov was such a major positive, and it's great to see, because historically, Samsonov has also faltered in the playoffs. You know, we're talking about last year.
He was 1-7 going into this series, I believe, right? 1-7
was
in
he?
the playoffs. Yeah, it was not good.
Wow. Yeah,
it was not good.
You know, you saw the OV, you know, yelling at him on the bench when he made that misplay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there were nerves there on his end as well. We didn't get a guy who was a veteran in the league who we knew had nerves of steel. You know what I mean? Like, this is such, like, not only is it amazing, but it's something that I wasn't expecting, to see Samsonov out goalie Vazzy. Like, we went to 3 overtimes and won all 3, and they were all in large part to Samsonov.
Yeah.
All of them. And
he
has the clutch gene. Like, he has the clutch gene.
And even though game 1, you know, he puts up that 7-goal game, Vazzy does the next game. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and both of their save percentages were under 900 going into the game tonight. Both teams did a very good job of making the other goalie look silly multiple times across all of the games. Fouad, going into tonight's game, did you think that Samsonov was going to be out goalied by Vazzy, or did you think it was going to be the other way around?
Well, as the game went on, like, as we had a scoreless first period and then the second period where it was 1-0, I could feel that this was not going to be like the first few games where it was fire wagon hockey. I could feel that this was like reminiscent of the Tampa New York Islanders series. So I was like, crap, like, we're putting Ilya Samsonov versus Andrei Vasilevsky. Like, that's, as all the faith we want to have, that's a tough matchup. Okay. Ilya Samsonov was not qualified by the Washington Capitals. Terrible move, by the way, but he was not qualified. This is not a proven commodity. And he gave us shades, honestly, in this, of like Curtis Joseph, of Felix Potvin, of Ed Belfour, like, you name it. This is the best goaltending I have seen on such a stage from Ilya Samsonov. And to Armand's point, could not even imagine that would have been the case in the beginning of the season, that this guy that we signed for the veteran minimum,
1.8 million. That's it.
Was not
1.8 million.
1.8 is 1.8. 1.8 million. This dude would be him. Like, this would be the absolute guy that would be the reason they won, because he is the reason they won in this game, for sure.
Yeah, he kept them in. My second note on the whole game, Samsonov keeps it at double zeros, 535 in, because right from the get-go, Harnish, I imagine you were pretty stressed out watching him fly all over the place the last couple games. But what do you see from him tonight that makes you feel confident that, like, he is now your ride or die trade Murray for as many first-round picks as it takes to re-sign him, because it looks like Wall Samsonov could be something of the future, because it looks like Samsonov loves it here. He loves the team here. He loves all of the perks and all of the extra people that are on board on the Leafs management team to help everybody stay healthy and fit and in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I called it. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but before the playoffs, I was saying like Hall had or not Hall, sorry, Wall had a couple of great games, and I'm just like, you know what? Roll with Sammy and Wall. I think that they're going to be a good tandem. Hopefully, we're able to sign them. But let's look at this game. This game, I saw a different guy out there from the last two games. He was composed. He was very efficient with his movement, which I think was a huge aspect of it. If you saw the last couple of games, he had moments where he was really shaky, he was jittery, he was making over movements, and that was leading to scary chances, right? Today, he was on it. He was locked in, he was focused, he was zoned in, right? And let's not kid ourselves, right? This entire series, Tampa had the majority of the shots on goal, right? They outchanced the Leafs 5-on-5, and Sammy was the reason why we came off with a series win, right? I mean, we look at this game alone, it was 32-22 shots on goal in favor of Tampa, right? The last couple of games, I'm looking at the other games, again, another 37-21, and then 39-27 in favor of Tampa. They were outchancing the Leafs, and Sammy really held down the fort and just said, that's it, I'm taking over, we're winning this, get on my back.
Yep, absolutely. He goalied the Tampa Bay Lightning in a series in a series changing game. I don't know, you know, from the beginning of puck drop, you know, the first period was the first period in the whole series where there wasn't a goal scored, so you could tell right from the beginning that it was going to be tighter. You know, there was anticipation right at the beginning that maybe the Leafs would play a little bit more defensively tight because a specific person was scratched, and they played 11-7 tonight. And while there was a lot of controversial opinions and lots of speculation and couch opinions on whether or not that is the right call, turns out it is, because at the end of the day, they don't care how, they care about how many. So, and so, you know, for the defense to play as well as did tonight, to play as well as for Samsonov to play as well as he did, because how many times last game, guys, did Samsonov lose the puck? Like fully lose it.
He was far more composed today.
Two or three, where he was looking over here and the puck is back here, like not in anywhere close to that. And tonight he was just Hawkeye and there was not a single moment where the puck went towards the net. Maybe once where I was like, ugh! But other than that, every single time that he got it, he was stopped. He was solid. He wasn't taking Tampa Bay's crap. You know, he like cross-checked Patrick Maroon with one gloved hand with his stick and was just like, nope, this is my game. And it couldn't have happened to somebody that deserves it more. You know, new father this year. He had a tumultuous season as well with all kinds of stuff going on in the world. And I'm glad that he continued to slay his own dragon on top of everything else. Holy cow. Really quickly, if you guys aren't aware, we are raising money for Alphabet Sports Collective throughout the Stanley Cup playoff. Alphabet Sports Collective creates a safe and inclusive environment for hockey folks of all types, sexual identities, and gender expressions through education, community building, and mobilization. You can donate to Alphabet Sports Collective through the link in the chat. So if you guys happen to win any money from Sports Interaction, maybe do that, like right down here, anywhere it is, because the Leafs are going to the second round. And if you're here, then you feel as good as we all do right now, because I'm shocked that we're all not just screaming unintelligibly. You know, everybody
passed out. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there was like a couple tears that came right after they scored, that I was just like, I stood up and Robert, our wonderful producer tonight, shout out producer Rob, you know, he texts into our group chat, you know, we're going to go live at 10:15. And I'm just standing in front of my coffee table with my hands over my face, watching the handshake line happen, because I couldn't believe it. I was again, just completely bewildered that it happened. And I can't be more stoked. Let's go. What do you guys think is going on in Maple Leaf Square right now?
Oh, pandemonium.
I don't know, but I'm here in Etobicoke and the window is open. Right before we got on the air, I just heard a bunch of guys just, go, let's go, let's go. So I literally before we got on the air, I went to the window. I don't hear them anymore. I think they moved on. But I literally opened the window and I'm like, let's go. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And like extra,
You could see,
extra.
like-
Yeah, go.
Even like during the game, right? Today was not a good day. Like it was wet, it was cold, it was
No.
nasty.
Foggy.
Leafs fans were out in drones out there. You saw Maple Leaf Square, like they were going wild, right? And that's just like you look back at when the Raptors won the chip, right? And you see the passion that all of Canada had. You saw that a portion of that passion tonight. The Leafs fans were going wild, and I still to this day believe that Toronto is a hockey city. So when the Leafs go out and when
100%.
they actually win it, holy shit, the fans will support you like you saw tonight. It was just
Absolutely.
insane.
I'm ready to build statues right now, man. Like, are you kidding me? I'm so
Tavares, let's
fucking
go. Let's talk about Riley too. He
Yes.
had a great series, man.
Oh, he was excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, from a guy that really you had a lot of question marks because of injuries throughout the regular season. He really had to scale up and it took a while for him to get another goal. Like he had a tough season. He did not have an easy route, and seeing the way that he was able to pick up and just become a different beast this series. You see the black eyes and the wear and tear on his body, and you just love it.
He looks like the playoffs right now.
He elevated his game so much for the playoffs. He was excellent.
Yeah, what a great story. That's a great point, Harness. Like Morgan Riley, not maybe 2 months ago, every time we would get on Game Over, people would freak the hell out about Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Remember, like anytime. So like, okay, he went for injury and he came back and everybody, their mind goes correlation must equal causation. And then they're all like, he needs to be traded. He's a liability. And just to see him score, what, 3 goals in the playoffs, have a bunch of just big plays, the overtime winner.
Yep.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. Oh man, I mean the chat's popping right now. I gotta say, like,
absolutely.
I'm trying to get to these.
Habs fans in the chat saying congratulations. There was a Jets fan in here saying congratulations on getting out of the first round. And
Dude,
even if they're trolling,
together.
I don't care. We don't care if you're here trolling us.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, honestly, I'm surprised at how positive it is. I thought there would be more trolling where people would be like, "Oh, it's just one round," but like people are genuinely happy for us, and I love that. I think
it's good for the sport, and it's good for Toronto when they have something to believe in, right? Like, everybody's been has had a hate on for the Leafs for forever. And, maybe we'll start actually giving people a reason to, because we're playing well and not because we're, a bunch of woohoos that end up losing in the first round in some sort of dramatic and embarrassing fashion. And so for that to be, hopefully well on its way to be put to bed it's just great.
Congrats from Colombia. Go Leafs.
Yeah, there's a Preds fan in here. There's people
Preds
in Sweden and Finland that are watching this stream.
That's
like,
so nice.
Mr. Worldwide, we international.
Yeah, wherever you are, thank you for being here watching.
Yeah, there's a couple people in the chat that are like, let's get Sid on to see what he what
about John Tavares? No, I was thinking that in my head. I was like,
follow him. I bet he would.
I'm gonna subtweet you.
Yeah, and that's great too from John Tavares. Like, he is someone that, like, he's been consistent, but like a lot of times in previous seasons and even this season, people are like looking at him and saying, "Oh, that contract's big. Oh, the production's waning a bit. He's not the superstar he once was," even though he's just a superstar at being solid. Just to see him get that goal, I think if you wrote down who you'd want to get the goal the most, number one would be Matthew Knies, because that would just make him an absolute legend. He'd be enshrined in the Hall of Fame tomorrow. But John Tavares being the captain and saying, "Oh, no, I'm the captain for a reason," and getting that goal, even though it went off poor Darren Radish's skate. Well, too bad for you. Finally, we get a good bounce.
Yeah, for all of the core guys that that Leafs fans and the Leafs management has been getting slack on for the amount of contracts that they are, and for how overpaid they are, and how they don't produce, and how they can't do it, and blah 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 blah. Every single one of those guys showed up this playoffs. All of them.
Also,
all of
keep
them.
in mind
maybe Morgan Riley the most.
That Tavares was also the guy who won in double OT to end the Islanders' 23-year playoff drought in 2016.
It's the
He
second
was the
time that
guy. He was
it's
the guy,
second
and
time
yeah.
he's had a series winning goal.
Wow.
For a team
Yeah.
that's had like a 19-year playoff trend, like it's
Yeah.
insane. He's clutch. I don't care what anyone says. He is a
Wow.
clutch player, and they did it. They did it.
That's a good
they
stat,
finally
man.
did it.
Exactly. Think about the relief that's on Dubas and Keith's
Oh
shoulders.
yeah. Okay, so that's my next. That was
Yes,
actually going to
yes.
be my next question, Harnish.
Uh-huh.
So does that now mean that Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas are absolutely 100% back next year?
Oh
Yes or
yeah,
no?
I think so. Especially Dubas. Dubas, I still hate the fact that people were always calling for his job. The guy went out there and he put everything on the line. He got all the pieces. We got Ryan freaking O'Reilly. Got absolutely and filled all the holes that we had in this roster. I think first of all, Dubas should be signed right now, right? But this win, the series win, hands off, like just sign him. He's gonna be with the Leafs for a long time. Keith, another guy that listen, if he lost this series, if he lost this game, there was gonna be a lot of question marks around him because it really looked like he was getting outcoached by John Cooper for a majority of it, right?
Yeah.
And today he came in and just got the blender, mixed up all the lines, changed everything, and even on the fly, it's not easy to run an 7-11, right? It's really not. And yeah, the Slurpee. The way that he was able to make it work, the way that he was able to get his guys going, like he deserves a lot of credit after this. I think you signed both of them right now.
Absolutely. Really quickly before I shoot to you, Fouad, Andrew Berkshire in the chat. Tavares should show up to his post-game availability in a Leafs blanket. 100% agree.
Just comes in.
Let's go.
Just comes in like, yeah, guys.
Sign that man a Sheets sponsorship deal.
I
Let's
hope
go.
he still has that old one. How cool would that be?
You have to frame it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. John
Fouad-
Tavares just comes in with his blankets. Yeah, guys. What did you guys expect? I scored a goal, played hard. Yeah. Kyle Dubas, like, I've been critical. Like Lauren, I've been critical to Kyle Dubas in the past prior to this season, but he won me back in the trade deadline. With that trade deadline, I saw all the moves he made, and I'm like, no, this guy's serious. This guy's serious, and he put this best shot together. And God forbid if they would have went down, I would not have blamed him. I would have said, you guys let this man down. So to see his vision finally, that's his vision Stanley Cup for sure. But to see it at least get past
Take a step
25%
forward.
of the
One
way,
step at a
right?
time.
And I want to see Kyle Dubas right now because we already saw like Kyle Dubas' alter ego come out when he just starts yelling at fans. I swear, I think he's in the locker room right now with like his tie around his head, just like, and they're just pouring beers on him. Just, yeah, let's go. Like he's going full on just,
Oh yeah.
I want to see it. Kyle Dubas, like the glasses are off. Like he's
even Spezza too. Did you see how I love seeing both
they've
of them in
been
the
so
press
hyped
box.
all series
They're
long.
so
and,
good.
They
Like, you can
high-fived,
see how
remind me
much
of
it made.
Jesse and Walt
yeah.
in Breaking Bad when they're just like, yeah.
Absolutely. Before I throw to you, Armand, from OPTA stats, the Maple Leafs are the first team in NHL history to have 3 overtime road wins in a single playoff series.
What?
Huge. Yeah, I mean, think about it. There's only 7 games in a series. Like, there's
That's
only
a
3 or 4 road games
Dang.
max. All of them
And-
in OT. All of them
Yep.
at Emily Arena. That's so big.
Yep.
It's
And-
so huge. It's an insane
And Morgan
stat.
Riley, was a huge part of both of those overtime wins. The game
Yep.
3, not all 3 of them, yes, because he assisted on the overtime goal tonight, as did Matthew Knies.
Yep.
One thing before we do shoot it off
Special.
to Matthew Knies, off of that quick stat, remember the whole issue that we had with Sammy was he performed well at home.
Yeah,
He
that's
did not
true.
do well
And-
in away games. He won every single away game.
I didn't even consider
in this
that.
series.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? The turn of events there.
Yeah.
Oh my
honestly.
gosh, Matt
so excellent.
Canadian is wanting some chaotic goodness. SDPN, imagine if the Bruins get the curse tomorrow.
Yeah. Look, I'm not counting on that. I'm not counting on the Bruins to lose Game 7 at home. I know I want it to happen more than anything, just to laugh and laugh. Not even for the easier road. I just want to laugh at I just love chaos in sports, right? But I can't see them going down in Game 7. I think we're gonna be in Boston for Game 1. I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see it happening. But go Panthers. In my
I
opinion,
hope-
you guys can chime in there, but
I would
Yeah.
love that, man.
I
I
don't
would
want
love
I
that
don't
so
want
much.
a harder road. We had a hard enough road.
You guys
I
want
mean-
you guys want the Panthers to win?
Yes.
Yeah, of course I want the Panthers to win.
I want
No,
I want Boston. to win.
Boston. Yeah, Warren,
Oh,
I'm on your
oh,
side.
Orange,
we're at
let's go,
2-2
buddy.
here.
You
There
and I
you
know
go.
what's good. You and I know what's good.
Give
Well,
no,
it's
give the
listen,
hardest
If we're gonna
road.
listen,
You
we're already
want the
talking about slaying the
story to
dragon.
end.
Ask the chat.
Yes.
I want to see the chat. Let's ask
I
the
want
chat.
the
wanna see
full
chat
story
says.
tell. I want to see a
Chat,
movie after
Chat, do you
this.
want Boston or Florida in the next round? Now that we know that we're going to be in it, I can't believe I can say that.
I more just
No.
want the Boston Bruins to have like a 62 win season and then lose in the first round again.
No,
I just,
but what would
it's
be
funny.
worse?
It's funny.
Them losing to Toronto in the playoffs after having that
Yeah.
season. That is a storybook ending. I'm telling you, someone Christopher Nolan make a movie about that if it happens.
I love it.
How wild would that be?
Producer Rob got the poll going in the chat, and
Way to hell,
the
baby.
chat is divided. It is going back and
Yeah,
forth.
it's like
Oh my
50-50
gosh.
right now.
Yeah. I think half of
Incredible.
us are Jazz and half of us are like, okay, but don't get too far ahead of ourselves. Also,
Yeah, like
Producer
Yeah.
Rob was nice enough to send in a quote from Luke Falk Jukebox. John Tavares says to Steven Stamkos told him, keep going in the handshake line. So
Good advice.
lots of grace from one captain to another. I'm sure Tampa fans, if you're a Tampa fan here, listen, I'm not
Hell of a
glad
run.
that hell of a run, and nothing but respect for the amount of playoff games that your team has been through for the last however many seasons. What is it, like 6 that
Yeah.
they've gone deep in the playoffs? Kudos to you guys. I'm glad that we went through you. I'm glad it wasn't another team, because the last couple of years the Leafs have gone up against them and Tampa's got the better of them. But tonight is Toronto's night.
Yeah.
Tonight is Toronto's night, and it's just the beginning, and I want Boston. It's literally 41-59% in the chat right now. with
Florida, yeah.
Toronto.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
I'm happy with either, but
Even
No,
even in that win, right? You saw Maroon and Shen going at it the entire series.
Yeah.
They were cordial. They were dapping each other up. They were happy.
Yeah.
So
There's respect.
Exactly. There's respect amongst them. We respect Tampa. Tampa's a great team. They're gonna come back. They're gonna be great. But right now is the Leafs' time.
Yep.
We
It's
deserve
not
this
an
moment.
accident. It's not an
Yeah.
accident that Tampa has done as well as they have, because
Exactly.
they play well and they're managed well and they're coached well. And John Cooper after the game saying on the Leafs at some point they were going to get to a break, and it sucks it was against us. So, it's funny because last game, who was it that had the quote that was like, "Oh, well, it's fine as we're playing as well as we are, so I'm not really worried about it." And
That
then
was
the
Hagel,
Leafs
I
come
think.
back. Yes, Hagel. And then he eats crow. And then after game 5, John Cooper is like, "Hey, let's be back here for game 7."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being another person that now has to go back and eat crow. And let me tell you, fellas, it is served ice cold. Ice
cold crow. I
ice
like that.
cold. Ice cold crow.
Yeah, so the
Yes.
poll-
Where are we at on the poll? 240
It's
votes.
56%
for
Let's
Florida,
go.
yeah.
for Tampa.
I
Or,
wanna
sorry,
see
Florida.
I want to see
Wow.
some Boston tears. I'm ready
Yes.
for it.
Yeah.
Right?
I
I,
mean,
know. If you're listening on audio, I have my favorite post-it notes that I have been waiting to bring back. I didn't even have them on my desk because I was like superstitious about it. And I was like, I can't. They're gonna know, man. They're gonna know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tampa Bay is crazy. Like before we move on to Tampa Bay, I was saying it to Armand in the last game, like to put in perspective how crazy Tampa Bay's run is at Braden Point. They said, I don't know if he got it, but he was like 1 point away from 25th all time in playoff scoring. And I'm
I
like,
think that was Kucherov. I think it was Kucherov.
no, they said Point.
I think I looked back in the stats. I'm pretty sure it was Kucherov.
Was it? Okay, either
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
those guys are not old players. Like those guys are in their prime. Those guys have like 10 years left, at least between them. So yeah, it could have been Point, but they played so much damn hockey, and like, man, I'm just so glad the Leafs could show out in
Yep.
front of them. And honestly, Boston or Florida, even if we do get Boston, like Boston it's the Boston bleeds.
They're not
okay?
unbeatable.
Yes.
They bleed. You could see it. Even
Yeah.
if they
Yep.
win that
They're
series,
not unbeatable.
No.
They bleed, right?
So
Yeah.
it was Kucherov, and he hit 25.
He hit
Yeah,
25.
he hit 25.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
25.
How
He's
old
got
is
like something like
Kucherov? Like
29.
29?
Oh,
He's 29.
Young.
He's
That's
29. Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
What a career.
And
That's
yeah,
crazy.
They're like Tampa is not an unexperienced team. They are very experienced. And so for Toronto to get over the hump against them, the team that went to the finals 3 years in a row, won 2 of them, That's huge. That's huge, man. Like
Yeah.
I can't stress this enough. It wasn't easy. And it's not even like we didn't face adversity. It was hard. The series was tough. Tampa gave it their all.
Good way,
And
either
they,
way.
Yep.
you know, the Leafs were outplayed in 3 of their wins pretty much.
Yeah.
But
They
good teams
found
find ways
ways.
to win.
They found ways to win.
Because good
And
teams find ways to win.
yeah,
Yeah.
you make your own luck and yeah, like it doesn't matter. The Leafs got the win.
Exactly.
You know, we
and-
talked about Columbus in the Columbus series. You know, we only had 2% shooting percentage, and we outplayed them and blah blah blah. Doesn't matter. No one remembers that.
No.
Yeah.
They got the win, and
Yep.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, and this wasn't even like the,
I'm so
the first time,
happy.
right? Like if we look back at last year, right? Play Tampa, and we were the only team, I believe, to get them to 7 games before obviously they faced Colorado in the
Yeah,
in the
that's
finals,
true,
right?
yeah.
We took them to 7 games. The Habs again the year before that. You want to scratch from your memory, but we took them to 7 games, and they went also all the way to the finals. The Bruins before that, like it's just year after year, the Leafs get right up there, and they lose against a team that's gonna go far in the playoffs, right? This time we were able to get luck on our side and we were able to close it off, but all of these series are hard. You gotta earn it, and this time they were able to earn it, right?
And I think this is the 3rd year in a row where Game 6 has gone to OT where we could win the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
Wow.
both the years before didn't go our way, and it finally did. And that's the way it goes. Like, you know, it was a matter of time. I think
Yeah.
Cooper is right in saying that.
I was
And-
not comfortable whatsoever in this series until John Tavares scored the goal about
Yeah,
40 minutes ago.
100%.
Because
I
even
don't
when
know
we
who would
up
be.
3-1, nah, even up 3-1, everyone was. I saw people like, you know, I was confident, but quietly, because the Tampa Bay Lightning are a team of zombies. Like they do not, like they will go into the last. Like they're hard to kill. Like they're almost impossible to kill because, like, I don't think they were even phased by being down 3-1. I mean, you saw their performance in Toronto in Game 5. Like, I don't think they were even worried. I mean, you can look back to the conference finals last year where they were down 2-0 to the Rangers and they went to overtime, and then they came back and won that series. So the fact that the Leafs weathered that storm of that team, because that team is just riddled with winning pedigree, with winning DNA, and to win that way, I think the Leafs might just have taken the winning DNA back from them.
Yeah.
It could be.
And
It could
isn't
be.
it so cool to hear after if you guys think all the way back to 2017 where we played against the Caps in the playoffs, that was the first time we made it since I believe 2013 as
Feels
well.
like so
Yeah.
long ago.
Yeah, but
It does,
that series, again, a team where we're young, we have all our rookies come into the lineup, and we were able to finally clinch a playoffs or clinch a spot in the playoffs, and we take the Capitals, a President Trophy team, to 6 games, and each of those games were either OT or in the one game that didn't go to OT, it was a 1-point game. And I don't know if you guys remember, but the comments after that, I believe it was with Patrick Kane. He said that, listen, the Leafs, they're a team that's coming, and he can see some parallels between the Chicago Dynasty and the Leafs. Now, obviously, it didn't pan out in that duration, right?
Not at all.
But you see a team that's tough, gritty, and it took a long. We took a long path to get there, but now you finally started to see some things going right, and it's just one step out of the whole path, right, towards the Stanley Cup, obviously.
But an important step forward. Right now.
Exactly.
Let's talk about somebody that we were all anticipating coming in and being important for the Leafs after the trade deadline, and Matthew Knies. Ryan Spencer in the chat saying, should Knies continue on the first line in the second round? I love his game, the missing power forward they've needed for so long. Armand, do you think he's on do you think he skates up to the center dot in the second round with Matthews and Marner?
I do think so. But there is a question to be had about where Bunting slots in, because he also had a great game.
Yes.
And I don't want to take Yarn Croak out of that top 6. But what I will say about Knies is he always skates hard. Always. There's never a point where I'm looking at his game and he is not busting his ass trying to get the puck. And that is a very good quality to have in the playoffs.
I noticed that a
Extremely
lot
good.
tonight, that
Like-
he was skating more than William Nylander at some points in specific hard moments.
Yeah, and he busts his ass. He's really good at puck protection. He's got the skills. There was that point where on the Tampa goal, he is the player that didn't get the puck out in time. Now, obviously, there was a huge defensive breakdown with Gio and Gustafsson, and like again, Nylander as well was kind of floating at the top of the circle, and Stamkos was left completely unopposed. But it was Matthew Knies that had the puck along the half wall and failed to get it out of the zone because he was looking for the better play. That is going to happen with younger players. You know, like we've said this before, that's going to happen with younger players because they have less time and they're looking for the controlled breakout. Skilled players will look for the controlled breakout. That's a good thing. But as Luke Shedden said before the series started, sometimes you just got to get it off the glass and out. And that was a time where it bit us. With that being said, he contributed to the OT goal. He worked his ass off every step of the way. You deal with those mistakes because he makes few of them, and he helps so much with the drive and the effort and the offense of this team. His skating ability, his puck protection ability, you know, he hasn't had a ton of production, you know, but he's had
some important assists, though. He hasn't had
some important assists.
Had some important assists.
But you notice him every shift. He's always noticeable. Like, I've never seen a Knies shift where he looked quiet. This guy's always working his butt off, and that is just
nice.
You know, that's the intangibles that everyone looks for, and to see it in a guy like Knies is amazing. I love it.
It's inspiring. Fouad, you look like you're chomping at the bit. Tell me all about it.
Well, okay, about Matthew Knies. I was always wondering about, like, are they gonna pull the old coach thing and say, "Oh, tie goes to the veteran. You're not ready, kid," kind of thing. Matthew Knies is ready. Now, is he the best? Is he an amazing player yet? No, he's still got some kinks, but he is definitely better than at least the guys who were sitting today, like Zach Aston-Reese and Sam Lafferty. He's better than them. He's a better option, right? So I think if put him on the first line until he gives you a reason not to. I mean, that's my thing. It's the kid has shown that he has a winning DNA, winning pedigree. And yeah, to Armand's point, you never notice a shift where he wasn't doing something and getting the puck. Like the way you remind me getting the puck to Matthews and Nylander remind me exactly of a Zach Hyman type, right? So, you know, I think he actually he probably has more skill than Zach Hyman does at this point, even being a young player. But yeah, I think, Matthew Knies, you know, put him up there. I don't know if it's the first line, the third line, second line, but he's got to be featured because he's helping you win, honestly. Yeah. I like Bunting on the third line, though. I will say Bunting with Ryan O'Reilly and who was it? Noel Acciari. Yes, that's who was there. Oh, that's an asshole line if I've ever seen one.
Tough to play against.
I've also wanted to shout out somebody in the chat. Love seeing messages like this. As a new immigrant by Jay Desai. As a new immigrant, fell in love with this game literally 3 years back and watched this amazing game with my 1-year-old. Her first game. This was an incredible memory. Let's go. We love to hear that.
You'll love to see that.
I actually had that highlighted. I was going to bring that up before I shot the
that. I'm like, let's go. Love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I'm glad that Keith made the changes that he did. Harnish, do you think that what kind of changes do you think are coming? Do you think Knies stays on for the next round on the first line? Or do you think that changes? And do you think maybe other changes happen?
You know, I think the most important thing that we saw today, or the last couple of games, is Knies is so adaptable. You can throw him onto that top line. You can throw him onto the second line. Even hell, like when he was on that O'Reilly line, he excelled, right? I think that is the most important thing. Regardless of if you start him on that top line, having the flexibility to throw a player on all three of those lines, and this is similar to like Kerfoot, except Kerfoot is not as he's not good, right? He's not that great, but
that's what Knies,
like he excels in all of those positions, right? I think that opens you up so much, especially if let's say these injuries do exist, like the Leafs have mentioned, or Keith has mentioned there might be some injuries, and that might have been what caused that 7-11 like situation that we had going on with our lineup, right? You're going to need that kind of flexibility going forward, right? Today, like you saw Knies, he started off with Matthews, but there was shifts where I saw Bunting up with that top line. I saw Bunting up with that second line with Tavares and Marner. And also, like you said, Fouad, Bunting played like really, really well on that third line. I think he had the first really high scoring chance to open up the actual game itself as well, right? That flexibility is the biggest thing. Like, I don't care where you kind of start them. I think at this point, yeah, start him on the top line. If it ain't broke, don't fix. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. But if there are some adjustments that need to be done in game,
Yeah,
he's ready. He's ready.
I think that like with the playoffs, you kind of notice that it's like it doesn't matter who's a first liner, second liner, or third liner, even a fourth liner. It's all about just where are they slotting you in when the game matters. And that's you just want your best players out there to give you the best chance. Like, don't overthink it. Don't Mike Babcock this and, you know, put Patrick Marleau out there for game 7 against Boston, right? Like don't overthink it, right? Like, don't overthink it. Just put your best players out there and play your best players more. It sounds so simplistic, but to me, it just makes the most sense. So yeah, having anybody there. I mean, there are guys that are, you know, this is going to be their last run with the team, most likely. So it doesn't really matter kind of where you slot them in. Hurt feelings don't matter. It's about winning. 16 wins.
And we got
right?
4.
We got 4 of them.
Yep.
25%.
4 out of the way. They finally did it. They finally got the 4th win.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
They got a new shield. Did you guys see that? They got a new thing to put the pucks in.
Yeah, I saw that.
They must have felt it was cursed. And, you know, all of the players, listen, it's only going to get harder, everybody. This has been a great series, and it has been busy, and it has been jarring, to say the least. I was in the Maple Leaf Square for the comeback when they were down 4-1, and they came back and won it in overtime.
That was so huge.
And that was ridiculous. Just like, I got my hat from this. There was beer all over it. I had to wash it because listen, even just a game like that isn't a series winning game, you can feel Leafs fans wanting it. And it feels like the team is starting to really push forward, and the team is really starting to make these big differences. And the players that we have all been complaining about every May when they're out of the series and out of the playoffs, all of those people are showing up. And players that we all had doubt about, Ilya Samsonov, we had doubt about, showed up. Okay, Luke Schenn, lots of people saying, oh, he was washed. Now people are in the chat saying, how much does it cost to re-sign him this season? Doesn't matter, we're gonna pay it. Okay?
I want to re-sign everyone, like literally everyone.
Maybe not
Anyone
Justin Hall. Maybe Justin Hall can walk to UFA.
yeah, Hall can go, but throw in all the money for getting
I think the
Ryan
biggest
O'Reilly
thing,
and Achari back too as well.
A huge thing this series though is the stars showed up. Like, you look at Matthews, how many goals do you have? 5 goals this entire series, right? Insanity. Yeah. Like, you want your stars to show up, and that's a big concern that everyone had the last couple of runs that we went on, right? Our stars just did not show up. This time they did. And I think what was that win? I think it was game 3 or I can't remember the specific game. They're all a blur at this point. But Matthews was the one who brought back that comeback, right? It was like that 2 goals. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was just so good to see our stars just
doesn't when it counts.
Because
doesn't when it counts.
Well, and listen, it doesn't only take stars to win, it takes stars to play defense. Okay. Yeah, and 100%. We played so much tighter this game than we did all series. That was probably the best game that the Leafs have had on a defensive side of it this whole time. Okay. There was blowouts in both ways. And we were all, you know, when it goes into the second period and the game is 0-0, you can tell it's going to be a low scoring game. I should have bet money on this, that it was going to go to overtime with a 2-1 game winning goal. But really, like, everybody from top to bottom played so well defensively, and it takes commitment on that level from everybody to get another 4 wins. And it's going to take even more than that to get past Boston because, or Florida. Or Florida.
I know we keep on saying Boston every time.
Florida.
I know. I'm so convinced that I'm just waiting for Boston.
But I mean, imagine if Boston.
We're here on the same side here. We're hoping for Boston.
Yeah.
I love it. We're divided. I like this. I like that we're divided here. It's good. I like to have a little debate.
The poll agreed with you guys saying that most people wanted Florida, right?
Yeah, it would be hilarious. They would throw a 3-1 series lead. We get fucking made fun of all the time.
The Leafs are going to be like, guys, I don't want to go to Florida anymore.
Yeah. Honestly, before we go, somebody pointed this out way up in the chat. I'm not going to scroll. Somebody from Sacramento commented. So I'm going to tell you why that's significant. All of the sports curses that are still lingering have kind of been broken. Okay. So here, listen. The Seattle Mariners beat our Toronto Blue Jays after losing 7-1. again against the Blue Jays. But anyway, they hadn't made the playoffs since 2001. All right. We have the Sacramento Kings. They haven't made the playoffs, not the first round, since 2006. They're in the playoffs. They're one game away from moving on, just like the Leafs. The New York Knicks had one playoff series win since the year 2000 in 2013. They just beat Cleveland in 5, and they're moving to the second round. I think this is the season where curses are lifted. What do you guys think?
I think it might be.
I hope so.
If for nobody
Let's
else,
get
the
the
Leafs.
let's get the
Witness the
1967
stars.
curse out of the way now too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work to be done. More work
We've
to
already
be
slayed
done.
so many dragons, and we got even more
Baby
to go
steps.
because we're either going to slay a panther or a bear in the second round. Okay, because both of those animals lose to a polar bear, and Carlton the bear is a polar bear, and so I
And
think
to a
that we
leaf.
are going to not only have game over round 2, I think we're going to have game over round 3 for the Leafs as well. And boy, I hope I feel less sick at the end of a series than I did tonight when the Leafs were tied going into overtime because I didn't know where he was going to go. But it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, John Tavares comes out up top. The captain scores. Both captains on both teams score tonight. What are the chances of that happening? Captain scores to put us into the second round. And the Leafs are coming home for a few days off before we get into the second round. So if it is your first time here, thank you for watching Game Over Toronto tonight. We have loved having you guys on. We have all loved being here tonight. There is nowhere else either of us would be rather than except maybe the game. But like I said, we're going to go to the second round. We're going to have game over through all of that. We're going to go to the third round, and maybe we'll get to the Stanley Cup final as well. So
Can they bring Edge with them on tour? Can they bring Edge and Christian on tour with them? Because Edge is good luck.
Yeah, they might have to. So let's go ahead and sign off for everything. So you can find me on Twitter at Lauren in the 6. Armand, go ahead, buddy.
You can find me at Armand Punthinking on Twitter.
Fouad, go ahead.
You can find me at Fouad_sports, but I think I left it to Foo Glad because I was Foo Sad when I was bad luck.
You gotta leave it
Anyway,
now. You gotta leave it now.
I'm still Foo Glad, so I'm Foo Glad.
Yes, you're Foo Glad until they make you flu sad. Okay, Harnish, go ahead, buddy.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter at Harnish_Patel98. Thank you guys.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you again to producer Rob.
Producer Rob, the MVP, most valuable producer.
Yes.
Round of applause.
Yeah.
Go Leafs,
Absolutely. Go Leafs go.
Is
Thank
that a
you.
hot mic?
Okay.
Is that a hot mic?
Let's go. Producer
Let's
Rob.
go.
He is everywhere and nowhere. He's like the wind. He's there, but you can't always see him. Thank you for watching Game Over Toronto, guys. Have a good night. We will see you next week in the second round.
Woo, see ya.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.